What is up, everyone? Alright, so trying something new on my camera, which is my phone. Basically, all the videos I've been recording was on my front face camera, so I can actually see what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. It's kind of difficult to do this with my front face, or my normal camera on my phone, because I can't see what I'm talking about, what I'm doing, if it's focusing or if it's not focusing. I don't have a camera that is good for YouTube filming, so I'm kind of stuck with this. This is a low-budget YouTube channel. This is not a paid service. You know, I'm not getting money for these videos. I'm not receiving free items, no sponsorships, nothing like that. So I have to do with what I got. So today we are going to turn lighters into a Flint striker. Now that I'm actually looking at this lighter, there's still half fluid. So we're only going to go with one. This one I already drilled out. It was just a little bit left. The Flint still works, but the lighter doesn't actually work. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about the tools you need and the steps and show you how to do it. And hopefully this video comes out good, because I filmed for 2 hours last night and it did not come out good at all. So yeah, you're going to need a drill with any size bit you want to drill into the back of this. This is dangerous. You do this with a empty lighter, maybe one that still works a little bit. This one's halfway because I could see through it. I'm not going to do that because it'll go boosh, and then you have lighter fluid everywhere. This one is completely empty already, and I already drilled it out, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So the other tool you're going to need is a hacksaw blade. You can do it with just the blade itself, or if you have a nice handle, that works. Snips and pliers. The smaller the pliers, the better, because, you know, this is a small item and you kind of have to get into precise things. And the cutting as well. So when we're going to be trimming this down, you got to kind of cut small little areas. And we're basically going to turn this full lighter into something that looks like that. It's not going to have a button, it's not going to have a shroud. And then if I feel encouraged enough in this video, I will turn it into a keychain. I'll add a little hole and then, you know, put a key ring on it. You're going to need some paper clips, and I'll show you why. And then you can do this with wire. It's just more tedious because you have to strip the housing of the wire. And you're going to need to, basically when you strip it, you're going to need to twist it and make it stronger. And what this is going to do is this is going to protect the wheel from, whoops, butterfingers. This is going to protect the wheel from the plastic on the inside from splaying out. So the protected wire, which I like the paper clips, because, you know, they will protect it more. The wire works just as well, and it looks a little better, and it kind of... So the other issue is when you do the paperclip method, when you're twisting, if you twist too hard, it'll splay it out again. All you want to do is tighten it enough to protect the wheel from popping out. So that's that. Alright, we're going to get down and dirty with this after a sip of coffee. Oh, I just spilled it. Let me clean that up. Good thing I didn't spill it on my nice Bosch drill. Alright, let me get that out of the way. Alright, so you got your drill, you got your lighter. You want to do this away from your face, and you want to make sure that, you know, you kind of do this. So basically the lighter is not going to spew in your face. It's going to push it that way when it pushes through with whatever remnants of fluid that's left in here. I gotta find my hole already. So basically you're gonna just take it and you're gonna drill through both layers, top and bottom, because there's two chambers. You never know, they could be sealed on both chambers. One's got a little hose that goes down, and the other one is just an open chamber. So that's done. You can eliminate your drill. You're going to take your pliers. Usually there's like a child safety guard. You're going to pluck that off. Mine's already off because I use my lighters. Get rid of it. Alright, so now you're going to carefully take your finger and open these plastic tabs. Don't bend them too hard, because if you bend them too much, then the lighter's no good. The wheel won't stay on, and then it's useless. So you're also going to hold the wheel as you do this, because if you don't, there's a spring and a flint inside of it. And if that flint and spring go flying across the room, game over. So you're going to just take your time. And I have done this on video before and lost the flint and spring, and then it was hilarious. Alright, so you got your wheel. This is a nice Bic because it's got a full-size flint. This will last a long time. Some Bics, like the micros, only have the tiny, tiny flints, which are about 10% of what this flint is. And this one's used probably about 60%. They're normally, I'd say, around that much longer, probably 8 mils longer. So then you take your spring out and your flint and your wheel. You're going to put that aside. Don't lose it. And then you have your button in here, which will engage your fluid. So basically what you're going to do now is you can do it by hand or you can do it with pliers. I've done it by hand. You just take your finger on one side and then flip it over after you open it up. This one's going to be a pain in the butt. There is also another spring underneath the fluid bar. So that's fine if that spring goes flying. Wow, this one's playing ghost on me. Alright. Well, there goes that spring. This one you can throw away. Actually, what I've heard a lot of people do, because this is a bigger spring, is they'll drill out the center where the flint goes just a little bit to get the spring. This one, I can't do it because it's the same diameter. But some lighters you can. Excuse me. Fluid bar, get rid of it. This is your fluid pin. Get rid of it. I'm digesting a cup of coffee right now and it's not feeling too great. Alright, so that I'm going to leave for now. So now what you're going to do, because it's completely gutted, I mean completely, just don't lose your spring, don't lose your flint. You're going to take your hacksaw and you're going to cut. So from hacksaw down, see where the blade ends at the lighter? You're going to move it just a little bit past it. So right about there. And then you're going to make your line. Let's do that again. So then you're going to cut your little notch. Go on your table. Don't cut yourself, folks. This does work very well if you have a vise. But if you don't have a vise, your strength shall persevere. Come on. This is hard doing this on video like this, because I'll do this normally on a vise. But I can't do that because I'm showing you guys. But that's fine. That's what this video is all about, right? Also getting kind of a cold, So bear with me as these videos go. All right. Almost there. My fingers hurt. All right. I just made a big old mess. So we're going to clean that up. Put that aside. Alright, so we are down to this point. So, cut your lighter in half. Some people say you can turn this into a whistle. But it's plastic. But it's pretty difficult to make this into a whistle. I'm not going to bother. I already have a really good whistle. Going in the garbage. Alright, so after this point, you can just clean up the plastic. This part's good. So in the middle, where the hole where the spring goes, I left a little bit of extra plastic on the cut. I don't know if you can see. Cut it in half. There's a little bit right here in the center. You're going to take your lighter, your working lighter, and you're going to melt this hole and pinch it. And that way, that's your spring holder. Make sure you do a good enough job when you melt it, because that's what's going to hold the flint in place. Perfect. So now the hole through the center is blocked off with some melted plastic. Spring goes in. Good to go. Ain't gonna go nowhere. Ow, still hot. Alright, so at this point you can go around and you can trim if you'd like. Just stay away from your hole that you melted. Let me check this to make sure we're still filming. Yep, 13 minutes. So I don't really care how this is going to look because I'm going to give this one away. You can actually cut, let's see. Yeah, you can actually cut this section off straight down if you're feeling up to it. And basically you can make it look like that. And then that way you can drill a hole through the side of it and make a keychain. So now we're going to cut our spring. And so in order for this to work, because this flint is so tall, and let's see, your flint's going to go right about there. So you're actually, what you want to do is you want to put your spring in, and then right where the top of the surface is, right where it protrudes out, pull your spring out. You're going to cut that much. And this is what you're going to use to go inside your lighter for your flint. So cut that. And then you're going to put the cut end inside the lighter. And then your nice bunched up spring part on the top, that's going to be where your flint is. So you're going to put it in. You might have to trim this again because I don't know if you can tell, the spring's kind of above the plate. So you just want to test it. Almost lost my flint. So let's give it a little test push in here. This is the trickiest part, is pushing against the spring. And there goes the flint. Not proud of that. But bloopers happen, right? I lost the spring as well. Well, now I got some nice fluid. Good job, Brian. Good job, Brian. All right. So I recut this one. This one's inside because I can already tell that one was too long. And if I do this again, all right, so I tested the pressure, it's pretty good. Now here's the hardest part. So there's also an angle of which way this groove goes on some lighters. This one, it doesn't matter. So usually, like if it's a non-Bic lighter, you want to mark the sides that the spring goes, or whichever way it started, because if you don't, then when you go to flint strike it, it's not going to flint, it's actually going to just cut and shave your your flint. So that works good. So now there's 2 holes on each side right below the wire, and what we're going to do is we're going to wrap our paper clip. So I'm going to get rid of all this extra mess that I made. Some people use as well, I forgot to say, just to make this look pretty, but who cares about pretty? Some people use the top cap. You don't need it. Adds weight. So when you open it up, this top part is a good area to start. This is the hardest part, is getting it to seat around the holes. So you're going to have to tinker and give it some angles when you get it through. This is always the hardest part, is getting, and this is why I like using the copper wire, because sometimes your paper clip is just not flexible enough. So I'm going to eliminate the paper clip because I just don't want to spend the time. Don't do this with your teeth, please. I'm a fisherman, so I don't care. I've spent the time cutting millions and millions of wires and fucking fishing line. So as you're pulling your wire apart, just to make this quick and easy, just start twisting it just to help keep it together. And then when you get to a certain point, you can literally go like this to pull the rest of the housing out. And then when you do that, you want to twist it up, spend the time giving it some good twists. And all this is just safety so you don't lose your wheel and lose your Flint. Because you could have this forever. Because you can buy a pack of Flint from a Zippo shelf or whatever at Walmart, and you will have a forever Flint striker. Wow, I'm really shaky today. Too much coffee. Alright. Put it through the hole. Now you can bend this thing all day, and it ain't gonna matter. Alright. Straighten this out. So I got my wire through the hole. Now what you're going to do is where you go through the hole, you're going to go through the back side. So when you go like this, you want to pinch it, take your two wires. I'd say give it like a loop twist, and then you're going to pull these taut. This is a difficult part because if you don't have this set in a vise, it's hard to pull these tight. So when you pull them tight, come on now, work with me here. When you pull them tight, you're going to twist them. Come on. Nothing's working with me today. Alright, there we go. So you're basically going to hold this tight and twist hard. Until the coil and wire is one strand. And then what you're going to do is take your pliers carefully at the end of the loom loop, twist it again. Then you can cut some short distance off. So that's where that is. So just so you get like a judgment base where you put the loop in, if it's angled up, you want to wrap it around the side that's flat. And all this is doing is it's holding these together and making sure when, you know, it's bouncing around, it's not gonna, you know, pop your wheel off. This is just holding it together. If you don't have to do this, I do it just because I don't want to lose my wheels. So I just trimmed the ear off a little bit. If I had more time and I could kill more time with doing a longer video, I would definitely show you what the hell. Another thing to be careful about, watch when you're doing this. If you look on the front side of the wheel, make sure your strands are down, not up on top of the wheel, because I just sucked some of the copper underneath the wheel. Which is fine, because it still works, but it's just going to make a mess. Let me see if I can't get that out of there. Wow, jumbo fingers today, huh? Alright. Still works good. Alright, so for ha-ha's sake, I'm going to continue to cut this down. You're going to have to leave this long, the center post, because that's where your spring is. But everything else you can just keep trimming as far down as you want and make this as compact as you want. Parts will go flying everywhere, so make sure, like that. This whole chunk just went flying off. See? That was my end goal, which that's what I wanted, was to trim that off, but I didn't think it would pop off in one shot. It was kind of funny. I've seen a lot of people, they'll heat these up, you know, warm them in the oven or whatever, just to get the plastic from not breaking off, like shatter-wise. They do it just so it's more cuttable and pliable. Ouch. Also, when you're cutting these little ears off right here, be careful, because the weaker you make this, the easier it is to just render it useless. I got a big mess to clean up because these parts are just flying everywhere. Alright. That side looks good. So when you cut the other side, you have to be careful, because you still want to make your keychain loop right here. So you don't want to cut too crazy. You want to just cut enough. Don't go above the Bic symbol when you're cutting this point. You also, another thing to be cautious about is your post. When you're trimming all this down, it will make it weak, and you run the risk of snapping it off. See, I always see videos where they talk about how to make this, but they never tell anybody precautions, what not to do. It's always, just do this, and just do that. It's never, hey, you gotta watch out for this, and you gotta watch out for that because of this issue and that issue. And the key of the video making this stuff is long-term, lasting product made at home. Alright. Got some more trimming to do. A lot of people, they leave that chamber open for tinder, cotton balls, whatever. I don't need that. I don't need that at all, because I have my pack. That really hurt. That point just stabbed me in the neck. They do the cotton ball thing inside the lighter. I don't need that, because I have my sealed Altoids can full of Tinder Quick. This is always the hardest part, is to cut and trim. So what I like to do is take my hacksaw, just to start it. Something for your snips to get into. I've seen people take Dremels to these and, you know, polish them up. I usually do, because I like them to look clean, but also not snag on stuff, tree branches if they're on my keys and whatnot. So you can take a file or what have you All right, check that out, huh? That's tiny. Some people, they'll even cut this section off as well, and then all they have is that, and basically they hold the post. But I like this ledge because it's my key ring holder, and it's also a spot to put my finger as I'm flint striking it. So I'll hold it like this on the post, and then boom, hit the flint striker. All right, so now here's the other hard part. Drilling the hole. Fishing split ring pliers, not split ring pliers, the fishing split rings are really great for this because they're small, and then it gives you another attachable ring to attach to. Alright, so I don't have a bigger bit, so what I'm going to do is just open this hole like this. Like that. Bam! There's that nice little hole right there. Alright, let's find a key ring of sort. So I don't have my fishing bag with me, and I don't want this video going an hour long, so I was going to show you guys how to do the fishing rings, but you're going to need, it's a fishing split ring plier, and what it'll do is it'll help you open up the ring because you need one small enough for it to fit. This is just an example, because you need a small enough ring to keep it away from all this mess. So this is just an example. You don't need to do this with this. Basically, the fishing rings is probably your best bet. So I'm going to take this back off, which is harder than you think. It's really hard to get this off now. Alright, so I'll take that off later. So, yep, there is your keychain flint striker that is probably free because you probably have a lighter or you know someone that has one, and these flint strikers that you buy in stores cost lots and lots and lots of dollars. So at this point too, when you're all trimmed out, you can actually do the paper clip because it's easier for it to swivel around. I didn't think of doing that afterwards. Now that I'm looking at it, it looks more easier because you put it through and then you can put it through and slide it out. But you don't need it. You know, it's strong enough as it is. It's just precaution to protect it. If you guys have any comments or questions, I've done it with many other lighters as well, so I can give you a heads up on what not to do on those or what to do. So yeah, thanks guys.